Hey and welcome back. Guilford here and welcome to the Guild Fortress. I still don't know why I picked this name, but it was funny. So let's stick with that. Alright, we are back from our expedition into the Deep Dark last episode. And if you can remember... Yeah, I wasn't as well equipped as I thought I would be. And I realized afterwards half of my equipment broke. So yeah, the warden really put me through a lot. So I want to get better equipment this episode. Now there's a small issue with the topic of equipment. As I'm using two different magic mods currently, I have the Iron Spells and Spellbook for my teleportation and my hammer spell and anything like that. And on the other hand, Ars Noveau, which I have my light spell and a lot of other spells in the future. And both systems have different armor sets that you can choose from. And I think it might be worth picking the one from Ars Noveau, as I do have a lot of increases in different ways of forms through the skill system, because I have the fire, ice, lightning, and so on skill trees, which all have things like default minus % cooldown, or spell power, or this is also cooldown. What else is there? Here, max mana. Things like these. And there's only one tree for the arcane, which you can see I spec'd a lot into as well. Which gives me max mana and mana regen mainly. But I can get more for the irons side of things. So let's go for the Ars magic armor so I can supplement this a little bit more. To get through the armor, there's a few things we need to take a look at. So, first of all, if I take a look at Ars, you can see there's three different sets of armor. There's the Sorcerer's armor, there's the Arcanist armor, and the Battle Mage's armor. The Sorcerer's armor is, if I take a look here, gold armor with Mage Bloom fibers. The Arcanist armor is iron armor with Mage Bloom, and the Battle Mage is diamond. That doesn't really mean that any of the armor types is really better than any other, because yes, the Battle Mage's armor, you can see here, has +8 armor and +2 armor toughness. The Arcanist has +6 armor, and the Sorcerer's has +5. Am I comparing correctly? Yeah. So the levels of gold, iron, and diamond respectable. But on the other hand, on the higher tiers, you can see here at the top, it's tier 1, and it has an empty 2 slot. This one is tier 1 and has an empty 1 slot, and this one is tier 1 and has also an empty 1 slot. There's these blank threads, and you can see there's a bunch of those which take up these slots for different levels of enchantments. The Thread of Depth, for example, increases the amount of time you can breathe underwater. And if this perk is in a slot 3 or higher, you will no longer lose air, and your swim speed is greatly increased. So that means if I want this to get the maximum effect, I need a tier 3 slot. Well, the Arcanist armor has, I think, 2, the Sorcerer's armor has 3 of those, and the Battle Mage armor has only 1 tier 3 slot. And you can see I can jump higher, I get more saturation and get additional stacks of looting, step height, spell damage, more healing, and so on. There's even a Thread of Undying, which pretty much is a totem of undying that I can implement into my armor. That means I need to decide which of the armor types is fitting for me, and I typically go for the Arcanist, as it has decent armor and yeah, a little bit more of the spell slots, and it looks a lot cooler. And you can see if I take the full set, I get another 3 armor and recovery of 2. The Battle Mage gives me a plus spell damage and emulate 2, and the Sorcerers get me mana regen and shielding 2. You know what? Maybe I'm actually taking the Sorcerers this time, just to see how it works out. To get the armor, I need to have an enchanting apparatus. That means I need to really get into Ars Noveau a little bit deeper. Other than the first pure spells, there's a lot more to do. So let's take a look at what I need to do and what I can do to get there at some point. To really get started with Ars Noveau, you need these things called imbuement chambers. You can see they're relatively cheap, just 2 gold and a few archwood planks. So I will get myself a few. And there's also a quest line for Ars Noveau. I just completed the imbuement chamber. So I get a bunch of stuff here. For creating another spellbook, I get more stuff. For Mage's spellbook, I collected the archwood logs. I crafted the imbuement chamber, and all of that gives me random stuff. Source gems give me more source gems and random rewards. The scribes table gives me some rewards, and you can see there's a bunch of explanations for all of those, which I included pretty much on the go. You can see the next step, if I want to get to the enchanting apparatus, is to create source stones, which is relatively cheap. The War Notebook, by the way, is the in-game guide for Ars Noveau, so I might get into this at a few points just to reread a few things. The imbuement chamber. Let me get down here and let me just take a bit of lapis with me. I will need that. The imbuement chamber, let me just place them here on the wall, will turn lapis or amethyst shards into source gems. If I take a look, there's a crafting process which is ticking up slowly. If there was any source, so you could call it liquid mana, nearby, then this would go a whole lot faster. But for the moment, I can always exchange speed with quantity. So getting a few of those ready is a good first step. And after a few seconds, you can see all my lapis is now source gems, and I can just click it with lapis again to collect the source gems and yeah, start the process anew. All right, so the first source gems are there. Now let's go ahead and combine them with some stone, which I have plenty of, to create source stone. And I'm going for a full stack directly, which also completes the quest for source stones. Now from source gems, there's also a path to source jars, and you can see there's 6 different types of source links, or 5 and the potion jar. And those are the producing elements, so pretty much your generators which produce liquid mana. So let me create a few source jars, and you can see source can also be moved with buckets or by breaking and picking up the source jars. I didn't know about the bucket thing. Interesting. Let's see. Source jars. I would like to have a creative one. Sadly I can't. Let me get a few of those. And then I need some way to fill them up. And the earliest you start that, the better it is, because it can really be a tedious process to wait for source if you start at a later point. So let me craft maybe one agronomic source link, or maybe two. We'll place them down by the farms. But my main generation method will probably be volcanic source links. Now I don't have source gems nor lava buckets in here. So let me get some lava buckets and fill up the source gems down here, because we will need a few of those. I'll be right back. And a short while later, I do have lava buckets and more source gems, so let me get a volcanic source link. The rest of those I will just put into my system for now, as well as all of that. And now we need to set up a bit of an infrastructure so that we can generate some source. We will need that later. So the agronomic source links just generate their power from plants growing. So the easiest way for them is to be just placed somewhere where plants are, having one or two source jars nearby. And now if I quickly harvest all of that, you can see there's some source generated, and this one is filling up very, very slowly. Currently it's at 0% full. It will just take some time. I'll just harvest the potatoes and the carrots from time to time so they can grow and slowly fill this up. The other source link I think will just be placed over here. For the volcanic source link, it's a little different story. So if I come down here and I just place my volcanic source link here, it's not going to do anything by itself, but I need to feed it things that it can burn. So this can be wood, for example. It can also be coal or lava buckets and whatever is on hand. There would be, I could create a way to get lava from the nether maybe, to feed it lava directly, but there's also one other thing that where it can produce quite a bit of source, and I'm going to put some source jars directly above, and that is blazing archwood logs. So I got my hands on a few blazing archwood saplings, and you can see I got some blazing archwood logs in my system. And now I just need a pedestal where I can place them on, and this would also be the next step on our journey toward the enchanting apparatus. Some source stones, source gems and gold nuggets for arcane pedestals. I'm going to make them a little smaller, and now I can place the pedestal or the platform directly next to that, put archwood logs on it, and you can see instantly 1% for each log. Now I can either click this manually and wait for that, or I can just place a hopper feeding into that, which I can put my logs into. Do I have a hopper on hand? Nope, I don't. Well, let's go and fix that. I'm directly going for a hopper upgrade. Getting myself a barrel and a redstone torch to create a sophisticated barrel. And now I should be able to just place the barrel directly above it. Place my hopper upgrade in and put my logs into this, and you can see it just generates source one after the other. Automation can be quite easy. Now I just need to supply blazing archwood logs into this barrel. And just a short while later, you can see our 5 source jars here are 100% filled by our volcanic source link, and I just had to burn like half a chest of blazing archwood. Obviously we can go ahead and just connect this network cable to the spruce barrel and auto export all the blazing archwood we get into this barrel. What I also did is I set up a small automatic imbuement chamber here where I can just put lapis or amethysts up here. I have an hopper upgrade which pushes the items down into the imbuement chamber, and I have another spruce barrel here with an advanced hopper upgrade where I set match storage content so that it's only taking source gems here. So that means if there's anything else I want to process with this here, I can just add the responding items here down there and it can just funnel this through. But at the moment, I'm fine with just source gems. Let's take a look at the quests. We got 1 arcane pedestal. We need 8 of them to continue with the enchantment apparatus. So let me quickly do that and get 8 of these pedestals. I hope I have enough stuff for that. I do. Awesome. And with this, the quest for pedestals is finished. We get some Ars Noveau rewards and a random reward. And this time we got Conjuration Essence. Very nice. So, next step is we can go into the rituals, which I really want to get into as well, because rituals are very, very powerful. For example, we can get a tablet of fertility, which just lets animals in the vicinity get into love mode and get more. The tablet of binding, for example, will help us with our mob farm later on. And there's even a template of flight, which really just gives you creative flight in the area. And there's even a villager who will trade these, a shady wizard. Interesting. I think we can set up maybe a few of those. They just need arcane cores, which is in either way the next thing that we need to create, because an arcane core is the basement of the enchantment apparatus. So let's get an arcane core. Let me get maybe 4 arcane cores, then I can set up 3 villagers with those and an enchanting apparatus. Okay. This just requires some gold, some source stone and a diamond, and you need probably only 1 of those for like ever. Getting down here again, we can set up our enchantment apparatus by just placing down 1 arcane core, and there even make some light, nice. Place the enchantment apparatus on top, and then we just need to surround the whole thing with arcane pedestals or with the smaller arcane platforms. They work just fine as well. So just like this. What you need to consider is having all of this nearby of your source jars so that it can draw the source it needs into the apparatus. So with this, we also have this one complete. And here you can see a bunch of things that you can create in the enchantment apparatus. But we want to get over here. I wanted some sorcerer's stuff. And we need Mage Bloom seeds and Mage Bloom fibers based on that. So Mage Bloom seeds, there's a quest to get 3 of those. Well, I already got 2 based on some random seed bags I received. So we can just go ahead and plant them and bone meal them to get a few more, I think. Let me get a stack of bone meal and maybe a plot of land. Okay. It seems like you're not getting any more seeds if you do it like this. So I only have my 2 seeds, but I got a bunch of Mage Bloom. Back to the topic. If I wanted to create Mage Bloom seeds, I actually could just use botany pots. But the normal way would be to use the enchantment apparatus with 4 source gems and some seeds in the middle to get a Mage Bloom seed. But actually, let's go and take the botany pot way. So botany pots are very useful. And I even have one. You can always use a hopper in combination with a botany pot to create a hopper botany pot, which is even more useful. And then having a barrel below that will make our lives a lot easier. So let me take 1 dirt. And we will set up a mini Mage Bloom farm down here, because I don't really need the space behind here for anything else. So let's put our barrel down. Let's put our botany pot on top. I need to fill it up with some sort of dirt. And I can put my Mage Bloom seed in here. And now you can very slowly see that the Mage Bloom is going to grow. If I take a look here, the animation is just slowly getting bigger. And at some point, the Mage Bloom is fully grown. And as it is a hopper botany pot, the seed or the plant will automatically break and replant itself and put everything that came out of it in the barrel below. So getting more Mage Bloom seeds here is just a waiting game. We can just watch it grow and yeah, get the results. And there you could see the seed started growing again, and we got 1 Mage Bloom in the barrel. It seems like we have a small chance of 5% of getting a Mage Bloom seed when it breaks. So we probably need to wait for a few minutes to get the 2 Mage Bloom seeds we need extra. But that should not be an issue. If you just take a look at the next step, the Mage Bloom fiber. Well, Mage Bloom fibers, you get 4 out of each Mage Bloom. And as I have a bunch of Mage Bloom, let me quickly just get 16 fibers. Which will also complete this quest as soon as we have the seeds. And last but not least, the Sorcerer set, as we saw before, will be a gold set, and all of them work the same way. Just a golden helmet surrounded by 4 Mage Bloom fibers. And even though those are exactly surrounding it, you don't need to put it on all sides. You can just use just 4 Mage Bloom fibers here. Now let's give this enchanting apparatus a spin. We can just put, like I said, 4 of these fibers down here, and then we can put whatever part. Huh? Oh. We have a small problem here. It's nice that it happened now, because now you can see, if I click with the golden chest plate on this, you can see all the pedestals in the 3-block area light up, and this with the blazing outward is one of those. So I need to get this and the barrel just on the other side. That should be no issue. And now we should be able to put the golden chest plate in here, and you can see sparkly sparkly, and the apparatus is doing its work. And we got the sorcerer's wrap. Alright, let me get the other 3 pieces. And there we have it. Now what you can also see is my footpads have the Soul Speed 2 enchantment. That is just because the golden shoes I just transformed had this enchantment on them, and I just got it transferred on my sorcerer's parts. So if you wanted to, you can fully enchant a set of golden armor before transforming it, otherwise you can do it afterwards as well. So after now I have my armor pieces, if I take a look here, I can see there's a magic armor upgrade. I can upgrade it from tier 1 into tier 2 for 2 blaze rods, and now I need source and 2500 points of source for each armor piece. And if I take a look here, the armor doesn't really change, but I do get additional mana regen and max mana, and also more slots to be upgraded. So I should have 8 blaze rods on hand. If I don't, yeah, that's not an issue. So let's continue. For 2 blaze rods, I can just upgrade my set. And you can see it just took a bunch of energy here from this jar, and this is already refilled. All right. So there's one more upgrade, which requires 2 ender pearls and a chorus fruit and a bunch more of source. And normally you would only be able to do this once you've been through the end. But if I take a look at chorus fruit, I can actually buy this for 8 emeralds in the market. And I do have a market, so how about I get myself a chorus fruit? Let's go over here, get my stick trades going. All right, and here in the background, I can get myself some chorus fruits. 1, 2, 3, 4. And very nicely. Thank you very much. Let's directly upgrade to level 3. And now you can see this Sorcerer's Wrap tier 3 has 1 empty 3 and 2 empty 2 slots, as well as 3 mana regen and 90 max mana, which is quite handy. Now the last part is to get this really nicely enchanted. So let's take a look if we can get to there. And this is the full set. This is currently very, very blue. If I wanted this to be another color, for example, let's take gray, or maybe a light gray. I can totally just dye those and change it to any color scheme I would like it. So I think this is already a lot better. Now that we have our newly fitted armor, I enchanted it a little more, getting Respiration, Thorns, Swift Sneak, a Spectral Bite and Feather Falling on it. So I would say we're quite nicely equipped. And you can also see I got Shielding 2 as a permanent buff because I'm wearing the full armor. What's missing now is this threat topic I talked about before. So if I take a look in here, there's a bunch of threads, but also those require essences. Thread of the Vixie requires Abjuration, Kindling requires Fire Essence, Magic Capacity requires Sauceberries, I could do that. But there's a bunch of essences I will need. And there's even a Thread of Gliding that gives me an Elytra in combination with my chestplate. But this requires a level 3 slot. With this, I'm going to sign off for today. Have a good one. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.